All right, grasshoppers. This is a real thrill for me. This is Aaron Mandela. Explain how we met in a minute. He is a paramedic EMT at Lenox Hill Hospital. Correct me if I'm wrong here. Northwell Health. That's correct. That's where you
right.
work.
That's right.
Perfect.
I
So
did
we met.
trucks.
Right. So long before the pandemic, I was, on behalf of the Rangers, I went and interviewed Aaron and his partner. What was your partner's name? What was his name?
Oh, I was working with Tom Herrera that day.
Yeah, that's right. So we were Chelsea Piers in the city, and they were great. They put me through a little. They showed me how to, if they actually went on a call, and somebody, I think we pretended they had a heart attack or some issue, and you went through the whole procedure how you would help him, and then you had me help out, and I think I broke the guy's jaw. It was a dummy that we were using. But it was funny because it was so funny because you were doing that airway pipe and everything, and it made it look so easy. I went to do it, and seriously, I think I would have broke the guy's jaw if it was a real person.
You did great. You did great. That was a really fun day.
Yeah.
It was great to work with you on that project.
Great to see you. And we won't get into too many details. You're on a little vacation with your sweetie, I hear.
That's true. Down in Florida, we'll work vacation. But yeah, trying to enjoy the weather down here before I head back up north.
Good deal. All right, so how we'll get into it. I know we did a long interview. My role with the Rangers was doing basically interviewing you and talking about your career and how you got into it. So, are you from New York?
I grew up in New York City. Yeah, I was born in San Francisco, and basically my family moved to New York City when I was 5. So, right when you were getting going with the Rangers in the '80s, I was going to elementary school.
There you go, you little baby. Yeah, you have to rub that in. Oh, that's right. I forgot. It's both. The reason we're on today is both of our birthdays today. So it's my birthday and Aaron's birthday. So we got a lot of things in common. We had a lot of fun doing that show. Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday, man.
We're getting younger. I'm going to turn the clock back instead of forward. Like no more going. Getting older.
You look great, man. If I look half as good when I'm half your age, I'll consider it a win.
All right, that's enough being nice to each other, right? No more being nice to each other. So how old were you when you decided that you wanted to be a paramedic?
Yeah, so I was actually pretty late in life. For a long time, my father was in healthcare. He was a chiropractor. He kind of did a lot of traditional and non-traditional alternative healing. And so I always had sort of that growing up. There was definitely healthcare in my family, but I wanted to do something different. I went into media for a little bit, did some public relations, and a ton of other jobs. So right around 30 years old, it came to me and was suggested actually by a close friend who had a family member in EMS, and it kind of suggested it to me as someone looking for direction, like this might be something to be interested in. I thought about it for all the 30 seconds and sort of started to look into it. I remember calling the fire department and saying, yeah, I'd like to be a paramedic. And they said, well, are you an EMT? And I said, what's an EMT? And they said, well, call us back when you're an EMT. So, one thing led to another. I looked into the training. I got into a program, St. Vincent's Catholic Medical Center in Greenwich Village, and step by step, day by day, ended up doing the training and going all the way through a paramedic program.
Very cool. And so, I didn't realize that. So you have to be a paramedic first, and then you can become you have to be an EMT first, and then you become a paramedic.
Exactly. So the EMT courses vary depending on how long your course goes, but anywhere from 3 to 6 months. And once you have that, you're basically, the way I like to put it is you now have the certification to learn how to actually be an EMT. You go to the program, you can only teach so much of this kind of work from a textbook and from practicing. And it's very important that you get that sort of education. But once you're on the truck with your partner and the decisions are up to you and your partner, that's where the education really begins. And, I remember one of my instructors saying, look to your left, look to your right. Only one of you is going to be here within 5 years, actively working as a medic. the rate of attrition in this field is enormous because of the pressures, the stress, and
Right.
just how difficult the job can be at times.
Right. You know what I noticed with you too, and I no disrespect to your partner that day, but you really seemed like you were a leader there too, and it seemed like that there's somebody has to kind of take charge, right? And the same thing as a hockey team or any other business, somebody has to take charge on the scene, and that seemed to be your role. You seem to be very comfortable in that role too.
It's funny, Tom is an exceptional EMT. I've worked with him out of a couple of different hospitals, and he's a big Rangers fan. He was so stoked to be on that shoot with us that day. But yeah, Tom's he's been in the system a while on the BLS level, and when you get on calls or you get in a situation, it depends on the practitioner's or the provider's level of experience. Usually, it's also a personality thing. If somebody has the ability to lead and they just kind of step into that, if there's a vacuum on scene, strength of personality, time on the job, definitely, plays a factor. And oftentimes, I find myself directing, 10, 12 people on a certain call type. Obviously the bigger the emergency, you can only have one chief, and but on your average call, it's experience definitely plays a role.
Right. Now, I mean, I know you're going to be somewhat careful with what we talk about here with the pandemic, but it obviously, when it first hit, you and I kept in touch, and it was, I mean, for some of us, like we were locked away from it, so I really couldn't see what was going on. You were right down in the city working where we really got hit hard. What can you tell us what it was like down there?
You were so great. Just, it was really wonderful that you and I stayed in touch after that. I thank you for your sense of humor. You really had me laughing during some very dark times, and I'll never forget that. But yeah, it was sort of, I liken it to a tsunami in a way. We knew it was coming. There was a calm, a quiet city, hunkered down, and people were staying in their homes. You were driving down streets and you didn't see another vehicle. It was surreal, and it was a nightmare once it started. We normally do 200 cardiac arrests a year, and suddenly there we are doing 200 in like 10 or 12 days. It was, we had bodies coming out of impromptu morgues set up in the trucks outside various locations, going out to Elmhurst. I mean, units tend to sit on the Upper East or Upper West Side in Manhattan Central. And here we are getting dispatched to Queens and transporting patients to Elmhurst. It was unlike anything. I mean, some people say it was worse than September 11th for our field, just for the amount of time. And it's still going on. It happens in different parts of the country. But yeah, that was a really, really challenging, tough time. And I felt an enormous amount of pressure.
Yeah. So anybody didn't join us at the start of the show, this is Aaron Mendel. Aaron and I did a show together. I was with the Rangers. I very lucky. He took me around. He and his partner took me around, showed me, we had a little crash test on me, I guess we'll call it. I called it Ron Greshner there at first, but and showed me the ropes on a call, what it would be like. And then they came to a Ranger game. Actually, just Aaron came to a Ranger game, and we got a tour around the Madison Square Garden. So that was fun too. So Aaron, just so everybody knows, is a paramedic with Northwell Health or the Lenox Hill Hospital. And so we did that show together, and we've kept in touch, get to be friends. And we just touched now on what it was like for him at the start of the pandemic and what's still going on. So you guys were the tip of the spear, right? I mean, that's what people called. You were the one that went and took care of people, right?
Yeah, I mean, we're called the first responders, not the first reactors, Yeah. And we really were, like you say, tip of the spear, and often unsung. I remember this one during, everyone was coming out to offer support, and Northwell and Lennoxville Hospital were amazing in supporting our particular garage and our crews. And the people applauding every night for us was great.
That's right. I remember that.
We really needed that. I mean, it felt good. I wish they did that every night, to be honest. But because that's how you feel some days after a store. And then, during COVID, COVID's had a really long tail. I mean, people are still out there getting sick. People are, still out there dealing with loss and suffering and pain, and their family members, their friends. This country's definitely taken a hit. We've had over, 500,000 people in this country die of COVID.
Right.
So yeah, I remember one. It was a Gray's Papaya store on 72nd and Broadway, and they had a special for first responder special, and it was for doctors and nurses only. So police, fire, and EMS didn't get the hot dog special. I've never gone back there since. It just drove me crazy.
You think they probably just didn't realize, right? I mean,
Gray's Papaya, I've been going there since they opened on 6th Avenue in Westport for a long time, and the prices have gone up. But their hot dogs are great. After that, I was just like, look, we're out here bringing patients to the nurses, to the doctors, and giving them a chance. And, we're kind of invisible, When someone
I think that's part of it too, right? Like you touched on before, it's kind of that thankless job. I think all that, like the firefighter, police officer,
sanitation, absolutely.
Yeah, I learned. I've been very fortunate. The Rangers have had me out to a number of different events with you, firefighters, police officers. I remember we did this one event down the city. I can't remember. A firefighter a police officer had gotten shot and killed the night before, and we were supposed to do this kind of fun game outside, but they didn't want to be looking like they were having fun, so we went in the police station. So it was really good. We got a chance to talk to them about, listen, what is it like out there for you guys right now with the danger part of it, the way people are talking about police, the way people are treating police. And they were really down, and I know you guys are in that same kind of category. And I said, so if I see somebody, a police officer on the street, and if I walk up to him and thank him for what he's doing, is that weird? Or he said, Tom, if you do that, it means so much to us when people do that. So it's the same thing with you guys. I think, like in that case with the hot dog place, I think a lot of people just don't understand what your role is, what your life is day to day, going out there doing the job.
You're totally right. It really comes down to a lack of understanding. A lot of people see ambulances in different parts of the country. It's different, but in New York City, we all have our cross street locations, and we post up and we wait to be dispatched to various emergencies. And there's in New York City, there's typically a 911 call every second. Believe it or not, every 3 or 4 seconds, someone's getting dispatched, whether it's an ambulance or EMS. Police or fire or all three. But there are times where the system slows down a bit and catches up, and you'll see people sitting in an ambulance and sort of say, "What do you guys do?" They're not doing anything, And so when the focus comes, right on us, the spotlight's there. Hey, we're the ones. There's only sirens and ambulances and emergency vehicles on the street. It's great that people recognize that and that they come up and say something and acknowledge that there's this there's this invisible, often invisible group of people and a system that's in place that people can expect that when they dial 911, someone's going to come, and we do. And this pandemic has certainly highlighted the role we play in healthcare in New York City and in the country at large. And we're definitely at a breaking point to say there's going to be a cost to this. That hopefully there'll be some transformative change, but we've definitely been put through our paces, and we've been in the trenches.
So do you ever have those days where it seems like you probably asked a question I already know the answer to, but you have those days where you're working hard, you're risking your life, you're saving other people's lives, and nobody thanks you for it. In fact, they'd be rude to you or whatever, right? You ever have those days where you come home and go like, oh man, this is like mentally tiring, right?
Absolutely. More than I realize at times, sometimes you just get used to the grind. And nobody knows on a call, what's gone down. Part of it is, HIPAA and whatnot. But just you and your partner, what you did on that job for that patient and how well you performed and whether or not you did the right thing or you did as well as you could. And those days are silent. They just kind of come and go. And, it's your own personal sort of, you kind of got to give yourself you trust that I did the right thing here, and we did the best we could for this person, and the outcome was good, or the outcome wasn't, but you gave it your all. You went all out on that call. And yeah, you just go home and no one understands. No one gets it. No one's, you can tell somebody, but they, a problem in my line of work is a problem in other fields. It's just very different things.
Right.
And sometimes it's hard to relate, but fortunately, I got a great support network and a lot of wonderful friends and colleagues, and we'll check in and make sure that you're staying on the good foot.
Good. So what's the plan then for you? Are you going to plan on doing this for a while, and for a few more years? You're going to retire doing this job?
I am in the system 14 years now. It's been a wild ride. I think I got some more in me. It's very hard to, the hours, we do 12 and 16-hour tours. It's very hard to kind of go back to, a 5-day-a-week regular, sort of office gig. Obviously, the pandemic has changed that for a lot of people. People work from home now, which is wonderful, but there's no option to work from home when you're a first responder. You've got to get out there. You've got to be out there.
Right.
You can always have a few more years.
You could always be a movie star too. I remember when we did the interview together, you had the long hair, like the surfer boy looking at
I had the flow going.
Yeah.
For sure. Right. That was COVID pandemic hair. That was pretty wild.
I can see you doing a movie like the surfer boy. You can see you doing a movie as a surfer, right? There you go.
Listen, I love to surf, but I'm terrible at it considering how long I've been doing it. But it's definitely
have you been a surfer? Oh, I didn't know.
Great stress reliever. I love it. I've been, unfortunately, growing up in New York City, it's the Big Apple. You can do just about anything and everything there. We really have it all, and we actually have surf. So there is definitely a big surfing community in New York. In New York, people go out to Rockaway Beach and surf. They go out to Long Beach. There's a crew out there. There's a Montauk crew, which is, legends. We got a lot of great surfers in New York, the city.
I didn't know that. Wow.
Absolutely, yeah. And hurricane season's great. I mean, the peak of hurricane season in New York is actually, statistically, September 11th, believe it or not. It's one of the biggest, statistically, day for waves of the year.
Wow.
So, yeah, it's
very cool.
Great time.
We need to get some videos of you surfing out there. Get some videos of you surfing.
Yeah, I'll take you anytime you're ready. I know you can swim. Cool. You were talking to me about that Navy SEAL swim.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
Yeah, I think I'm supposed to do that this year with you, right?
Well, it's coming up. It's in August, so yeah, definitely. We're gonna have to get you.
Training,
well, yeah, and definitely, and I'll hook you up with the guy that's Mark Puttenvink, and I do a show with him on Mondays. He'd been a strength and conditioning coach with the Rangers, and he's the one that actually makes sure that everybody's able to swim good enough. They go out in the Hudson and test them to make sure they swim good enough to do it. It's a tough one.
I'll be improving my doggy paddle between now and then. And,
I'm not jumping in again yet.
Yeah, I can wear water wings, right? Is that okay?
Yeah. Oh, you can't. You can wear the little. The guys are wearing the flippers and everything too. Yeah, they have to.
Oh,
and the current.
I might need that and a life preserver. But,
the current out there was nasty. I mean, they were swimming and they were trying to come to the boat and they were going way around. So actually going by twice as far as they needed to because of the current. But it was a lot of fun.
And these guys can swim. I mean, they're part fish, pretty much.
You know what's funny? One of the Navy SEALs we did a show with, really intelligent guy. He's actually kind of a recruiter, I think. No, not a recruiter. He puts them through their paces to test them more than anything. And he was from Utah, I believe, and he hates swimming. And he's a Navy SEAL. It's so funny. Yeah, that's a bulk of what they do.
The mental aspect of having to or of going through that training when you are not natural, you don't have a natural affinity for the water must be something I can't really comprehend.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was fortunate enough to do some training with some of the PJs out at the 106 Air Wing out in Long Island, Debrisky, and these guys are just amazing in the water.
Yeah.
We were also training with the Coast Guard, and just unbelievable. They would disappear off the boat, and then you just wouldn't see them for like 2 minutes.
Oh, is that right?
2.5 minutes, and then they would just pop up, and you'd be like, "Where'd you go?" But yeah, being good in the water is it's one thing to do stuff on land. It's another thing, like being on ice, for example, skating. Yeah. I mean, it's just such an ability, athletic ability.
It is funny, like especially when you're out in the ocean too. It makes a big difference. When we went out for Survivor, They took us to LA for about 5 days for testing, and they just in the pool all the time. It's fine. I could go down, and they have me go down and get little rings from the bottom, like little kids' rings and everything. It's fine. But you get out in the ocean there, and it's a whole when the waves are crashing in and everything. We had this one challenge out there where they had tied a ladder to the ocean floor, and we had to swim down to get it. And it wasn't that it's probably 10 feet down or whatever, but it was like the waves crashing and everything. It was really, I didn't anticipate that. It really took me by surprise. But, yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, I've spent a lifetime paddling around surfing. I've been in some ocean conditions that have definitely, scared the hell out of me.
Yeah.
You crawl back to shore and, coughing, shaking, and thanking your higher power. But I've been able to do a couple of Ironmans and getting the swim, the endurance stuff there. And you really gotta get comfortable inside your mind to stay the course. And what these SEALs, Special Forces guys do is just unbelievable.
Definitely. So what? And again, I want to be careful not to ask you a question I should be asking. But what's the scariest? Maybe don't give the exact details. What the scariest thing that you've ever had to deal with as a paramedic?
Oh God, that's a great question. And the moments where you get that clench and that gut check, gut drop. A few come to mind. A very large patient is a real challenge to manage. If you have a bariatric patient, someone who weighs 600 pounds plus, that becomes, I mean, they're a patient, they're having a medical problem just like everybody else, but their size just sort of completely changes the dynamic. So that's a scary one for me. Burn patients are scary. It's a terrible type of call. And then, for me personally, plenty of medics out there and EMTs have delivered plenty of babies. But yeah, burns, babies, and bariatric patients. The 3 Bs are kind of the 3 calls that definitely get me, get my heart racing and feeling a little.
So, I forgot about giving birth to a baby, right? That's got to be pretty rewarding, right? I mean, obviously the mothers are in distress, right? She hasn't been able to get to the hospital, so you guys are coming to
or she's gone and they sent her home, and it's like, oh yeah, you're not ready yet, but hey, he's ready. It's not about what the doctor thinks, I've had some champagne sent to me. I've recommended, my name is a great name for a newborn. It's definitely, those are good calls. A lot of times people call 911 because bad things are happening.
Right.
But babies are typically often, one of those things that women have been giving birth to babies without, doctors or paramedics, EMTs on scene for thousands and thousands and thousands of years.
So obviously they train you to do that, correct? Obviously,
that is one of OBGYN.
I never really thought about that. Wow.
Yeah, baby calls are intense, especially if the baby's not doing well just after birth. All of a sudden you go from having 1 patient to 2 patients. You've only got 1 monitor. You've got 1 partner. Oftentimes you'll have extra resources on scene. And these days, modern medicine's pretty miraculous. People have great, often have great healthcare, prenatal medicine. So there's, we usually have a little time before, they're not, it's not an OB out that often. A lot of times
but man, the adrenaline's got to be pumping at that point for you, right? I mean, you're coming in and they're looking to you. Obviously, they're in distress. They need some help, or else they wouldn't have called you. So they're looking to you to save the day. That's pretty intense.
It can be intense. You sort of, when you put the uniform on and you get a cup of coffee and you're with a partner whom you just have a real great working relationship with, the sense of humor, or the pace. Sometimes it just sort of flows. You're able to get into that flow state on a call, and your heart rate's up, but you're anticipating what needs to happen. You're communicating with your partner. Sometimes it's almost telepathic, because the dance is, the moves to the dance are the same. The music might change, your partner might change. Every now and then you might do a little flourish, but in a 911 call, oftentimes, at least in our system, we've seen it before, or we've heard about how handled. So you're never alone out there, And no one does this job by themselves. You have a partner, you have a whole system, you have tons of resources, you've got a radio, you've got doctors you can call who can, help give you a consult. And that's the big, it's a really important, it's a system, and you're never really alone out there. So that's definitely a positive.
All right, so everybody, just I'll remind you again who this fine gentleman is. Actually, we're going to start calling you a hero, because you're a hero. You save people's lives anyway. So this is Aaron Mendel. He and I met before the pandemic. We were at Chelsea Piers. They were very nice. I basically was interviewing them on behalf of the Rangers, and they took me through and showed me how to do a call. And again, if it was a live patient, I probably would have broke his jaw or something like that. We fixed him up, and it was good. Then Aaron and I both went to a Ranger game together. We had a great time. We stayed in touch. He went through a real tough time with all the pandemic, especially the start of it. So again, you are a hero. And I really recommend everybody. I may seem a little strange, and I know all the climate of what's going on, but whenever you see a paramedic, a firefighter, a police officer, a member of the military, going up to them and saying thank you for all you do for us is really important. Really boosts the spirits of these guys. So I'd recommend it to everybody. I've done it for years now. I was at Costco yesterday, and I like when the older gentlemen, the veterans, they wear a hat, like if they'll say Vietnam veteran or the name of the ship on it, whatever. And when you walk up to them and you ask them, "Are you a veteran, sir?" and you say, "Thank you for your service," it really you could tell they really light up, like they really because I think they're kind of worried, like, why is this guy coming up to me? And then when you say thank you to them, man, you can tell it really means a lot to them. So it's important to do. So yes.
Yeah, no, it's great that you do that. It's really great, and we love it. People, they see us. We've become part of the neighborhood because our units are in certain areas. So we start to see people in the neighborhood. I've had the great fortune of having patients that I've resuscitated come up to me and say hello. After that's a pretty special thing. To have.
I forgot to ask you, how many babies you had named after you?
Yeah, I don't think anybody ever went with my suggestions yet, but I'm still trying. I have partners who've delivered, I don't know, hundreds of babies,
right?
And have actually, stayed in touch with them throughout their lives. So
I was wondering about that.
Yeah, a chance to have a connection with people in this line of work, where it can last. One simple interaction, being able to show up for somebody on the worst day of their life, possibly the worst moment of their life, or even maybe the end of their life, unless you're able to intervene and get them to definitive care. You can have a connection that lasts the rest of your life, and
that's pretty
really
cool.
Profound impact on. It's a reminder, that we're really able to have an impact on people's lives, and our patients impact us. Once we have that connection, it's for life.
Yeah, very cool, very cool. Well, again, just to be sure too, one important thing I forgot, and I'm getting a lot of happy birthday wishes, and I appreciate it very much from everybody. But it's also Aaron's birthday today too. He's a few years younger than I am, but it's his birthday, so we have a lot of connection. So great to see you, bud. I know you're on vacation there. You'll be heading back soon. Maybe we can get together when you get back.
I'd love that, Tom. Thanks for having me on the cast, man. This has been a lot of fun.
My pleasure. Talk to you soon. See you, buddy.
All right, man. Stay easy.